All right, well, I'm Charlie Rankin, and I own and run FloridaFundraiser.com, based out of St. Augustine, Florida. And that's a family-owned business. My wife, Courtney, and I started the business in the spring of 2019.
Mhm.
And we do have a little website, and this is it. It's FloridaFundraiser.com. And I'll
Right.
send that over to you or share it with you, or super
Sure.
easy to remember, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, So far, I've been a professional fundraising consultant since 2015, and I've helped
Hmm.
raise around 900,000 in profit
Right.
for schools. I'm part of a network of fundraising consultants across the country, and cohesively as a unit over the past 40 years, this network has helped raise about $400 billion for schools in profit, just a high amount, but that's over 40 years of raising funds.
Hmm.
Um, and this website goes through some of the options that are available to a group. Um,
Right.
this is my family here. And I
Yeah.
work with school-wide fundraisers, and I also do group, like
Mm.
safety patrol, bands, orchestras, teams.
Right. Right.
Um, and both links on the website kind of go to the same place, to the different things we have available. We have
Hmm.
programs that have products that are used in a catalog per se.
Right.
We have programs that are carried in hand, like a handheld carrier. I
Hmm.
call those in-hand fundraisers.
Right.
We have fundraisers where it's all done virtually. I call it a touchless fundraiser.
Right.
And nothing shows up at the school and nothing has to be delivered to anybody. It all goes to people's homes.
Okay.
And then we do have programs where there's not a product at all, and it's just a
Okay.
donation engine. A lot of times these are associated with a run or an
Hmm.
a-thon type event.
Hmm. Hmm.
And those are platforms that we have available for schools as well.
Right.
Um, and everybody has a different flavor of what's a fit for them, you know.
Right.
And so that's why we offer variety.
Hmm.
And so these are all links, and they go to different catalogs and whatnot. I am excited about a new partnership with the Cheesecake Factory,
Hmm.
which that restaurant is just now coming into fundraising.
Okay.
And it's not a knockoff or a compare to Cheesecake Factory. It's quite literally the Cheesecake Factory.
Hmm.
And I'm the new rep for this area offering this program.
Wonderful.
And what's great about being in Jacksonville, the Cheesecake Factory is putting their distribution center for the fundraiser in Jacksonville.
Right.
And so the products will be packed and organized right here in Jacksonville. So the trucks will be leaving a hub in Jacksonville and going to schools locally, which is great for us. We also have Mrs. Fields for the frozen cookies. Then you can see there's some non-frozen options. But this website's available, and I can share that with you.
Yeah.
A presentation that I've shared with future teachers or people that are not yet in the classroom. And
Yeah.
this was something I've shared at Vanderbilt University and Florida State University and University of South Florida. And I've shared this with, undergraduate pre-service teachers.
Hmm.
And is it showing on the screen there where it says make fundraising fun again?
Yes. Yes.
All
It
right,
is. Begin with the end in mind.
that's right.
Yep.
And that's, I'm just going to jump into the next slide. What I wanted to show tonight was how we're using smartphones
Hmm.
to change how we ask people to help with the fundraiser. So
That's nice.
if you have your smartphone handy,
Hmm.
um, open your camera for a second
Yeah.
and point your camera. Do you have an iPhone?
Yes, sir.
Point your camera at that QR code
Mm-hmm.
and tell me if a little banner comes down from the top of the phone.
Yeah, compose a message
Yeah,
to
so
9465.
you tap that with your finger, and your text message should preload, and it
Uh-huh.
should say, "Hey Charlie, I'm glad I was able to sign on for the workshop." And what's convenient is you're the
So
only one
I
here.
tap on the message or okay, perfect. Yeah.
All right, and so just drop your name in there, drop your email,
Yeah.
and you're not teaching or working in your school. You can just tell me your role for the county, and you
You
can
have
see, if a middle schooler did that just then, and they sent that to 5 adults in their phone, how
yeah.
quickly the word would get spread, right?
Yeah.
So just send that text when you can, and I'll let you know when
Yeah.
it comes through. What I've learned about fundraising
Mm-hmm.
is that this acronym is really kind of the secret I wanted to share tonight. NADIA. And
Right.
those stands for need, attitude, details, incentives, and assignments. And I'm going to go through how we use Nadia to show a teacher how to have a killer fundraiser.
Right.
So this is a foolproof outline on how to always be successful. So the theory here is it's not what you're selling, it's using this outline no matter what you decide to do.
Right.
And this, followed through intentionally, should end with a strong fundraiser. We always want to start with the end in mind, like Covey says, and then Benjamin Frank. If you fail to plan, you're planning to
Planning
fail.
to fail. Very true.
That's right. And so we always start with how much money do you need for the year? Maybe what was the previous budget? What did it look like?
Right.
Where is the money kept? If somebody's a beginner, if
Mm-hmm.
somebody's new to the PTA board, how are the accounts set up? And how much funding will you need in addition to what might already be in the account? You know,
Right.
and this is all before you've signed up for a fundraiser, really. This would be kind of gathering the information. This would help you have an idea of where you stand so that you know how hard you need to row.
Right.
You know, you can't know how much tension to apply if you don't know where you're starting. Then I always ask my teachers to think about what would happen if they couldn't raise the money, or if they didn't raise the money, what would they stand to lose? I always ask my teachers to make sure they've talked to the principal or the district about supporting with capital funds, or maybe sharing the cost of an item or splitting the cost of an item. I used to use that technique as a band director. I used to always ask my principal before I started a fundraiser to see if they'd share the cost with me. And that the idea is that the principal might have some capital that they need to spend.
Right.
It's not always the case, but you won't know if you don't ask.
Yes.
And then I always I was a band director, so like the most expensive thing I was buying was a tuba. So I would ask if the principal could split the tuba or share the cost of the tuba with me. And I found that to be helpful often. And then this slide, this is a book that I always recommend to a leader by Simon Sinek. And the main point here is that Simon Sinek explains in his book that people aren't buying what we do. They're not buying the cookie dough. They're not buying the cheesecake, or they're not buying the magazine. What they're buying is why we're doing the fundraiser.
Right.
And I go back to that tuba illustration. You know, why did the band director need the tuba? Well, he wanted his band to have a better sound. And then I asked that band director again, why, one more time, to make him go a level deeper. Because there's got to be a why behind it. And the reason he wants to have a better sound is because the overall band sound allows those students to have a preferred musical experience. So I usually ask why a couple more times. We really want to flush out the why, and then communicate that why to all the stakeholders involved. Getting those stakeholders really on board with why we're asking them to support the fundraiser. One of the big questions we need to answer is who's going to lead the fundraiser, and who decides about which fundraiser and which type of fundraiser. And my data has shown me over the past 20 years of fundraising that the best fundraiser is led by the key leader, such as the principal, the band director, the head coach, the person in charge of the school or the group. And my data shows that results are a little less strong when those individuals are on the sideline. You know, if the principal never comes out, the principal never communicates about the fundraiser, the results really, really are challenging. But when the principals do take ownership, the results are a lot more exciting. And I wanted to share just a quick clip of a principal doing that.
Hey, Keepers, this is Mr. Isley, your principal, just giving you a little summer check-in. I want to talk to you about a fundraising opportunity we're going to get started with early. I look forward to seeing you on Thursday, August 8th, but what we want to do is have you take a look at the link in this email and give your parents a chance to support Casner for just $10 a month. That's just 2 Starbucks per month. Again, $10 a month, and you can become a Casner supporter. Also in this email is a link that we want you to share with your friends and family. Now, when you become a supporter, you can get your activities pass and your spirit shirts. If you get 3 supporters, you can go off campus and go to No Surrender. I know some of you have spent time at No Surrender this summer. So again, click on the link in this email and become a Casner supporter. Look forward to seeing you on Thursday, August 8th. Again, this is Mr. Isley, and we'll see you soon.
that message coming from the principal is a lot different than coming from a PTA or
Very
a parent
true.
volunteer.
Yes.
Different result because the parents are going to respond to that.
Right.
And that's just a quick example of that. The best fundraising results come from groups where the fundraiser is led by the key leader. The best fundraisers come from groups who don't fundraise every month. The best fundraisers come from the groups that start early. The first 9 weeks and then the third 9 weeks are your best seasons for fundraising. And then the best results come from groups that don't charge a pricey
Right.
band fee or participation fee or pay to play fee. This is more of a group concept, like with a team. But if we're charging parents to be on the team, they're less likely to contribute to a fundraiser. Different types of fundraisers. I wanted to zip into that real quick. I'm getting into the details now of Nadia. Details, that's what the D stands for.
Right.
You can do fundraisers that are on your own. Barbecue chicken plate dinners, car washes, fall carnivals. These are really popular, the carnivals. I call them ticket-based events. A tag day could be where students are literally just going and knocking on neighbors' doors. That's done in some communities. Or that the adults would be asking business partners,
Right.
And then the old-fashioned car wash, the bingo nights, the silent auctions, the raffles. We've all seen those. And then there's the opportunity to lean on a fundraising company, somebody like Courtney and I,
Right.
Fundraising companies offer product fundraisers of all varieties. In this case, the supporter, air quotes, the supporter gets something when they
Right.
support the group. I think of like the PBS, when you give money to PBS, right?
Right.
The experience type of an event, maybe a putting tournament or a golf tournament or the walkathons. And then the non-product, which is coming on, which I call like the touchless fundraisers. But in some cases, we have touchless fundraisers where the customers do get something, but there's also this new model where the customers don't get anything. And it's just strictly a donation. So those are all available in the marketplace. Some things that I'll cover: list of key questions that a PTA parent or a band director might need to be asking if they've never run these before. If they're going to hire a company, these are some of the questions they probably should be asking.
Right.
This would be important to share with your panel, right? How is money collected?
Yes.
How are the supplies going to arrive at the school? Will they be collated when they come to the school, or do I have to collate them when they get there?
Right.
If you have 1,500 students, that's a lot of work.
Yes.
And if you didn't ask that question, and the fundraiser starts tomorrow, you got a problem.
Right.
How do the products show up to the school, or do they go to homes, or can they do either one?
Right.
If they ship to the school, are they sorted by child, or do we have to sort them out when they get here? That would be a huge question.
Definitely.
How are the prizes handled? Will they actually motivate my students? Does the shipping cost extra? Do you take returns?
Right.
How much am I earning per item? And then do you have any examples of other groups that you've helped?
Right.
And so what I'm trying to cover here is somebody who's never even done a fundraiser before, maybe.
Right.
The I in my program stands for incentives. I think it's important to invest in the program. You'll have an ROI, you'll have a return on that investment,
Right.
We want to reward the behaviors that we want to be repeated. The main behavior we want is for the children to ask people to help.
Right.
And if we reward students for sending out text messages or emails, we could provide a reward when a child sends 7 texts, or provide a reward when a child sends 7 emails. That will really increase the results of the fundraiser.
Right.
We could provide rewards for participating at a low level. An object in motion stays in motion. If we can get them to a quick start with an early bird prize, they might sell more items.
Right.
We could use a spinning wheel to give away other incentives. I wanted to show that to you real quick. This is a great COVID safe way to give out prizes. Let me find my spinning wheel. Look at this real quick.
Wow.
And so this winner gets 10. We spin again. And maybe it's your child, right?
Right.
Oh, this child gets one. And the way we set this up, we can control the amounts of dollar, you know, we can control what's on the wheel.
Right.
You might have 1,000 spaces on the wheel and one of them is $50 or one of them is $100.
Right.
And you could play this on the school news.
That's so interesting.
And if children are seeing their peers be rewarded,
Mm-hmm.
they may be encouraged to get involved. So that's a creative way to, in fact, children could be at home, not even in the building, and we could still do
Building.
this.
Yes.
So just trying to think creatively about how we reward students related to the fundraiser. I've also started using family rewards for a fundraiser. I've sent an ice cream truck to a family's house.
Wow.
Instead of having the ice cream truck at the school, we just sent the ice cream truck to a family's house.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe tour the swamp, maybe a tour of Doak Campbell, maybe a tour of the Jaguar Stadium, where they could get a reward that they can't go get at Target.
Right.
If they participate at a certain level, maybe they can have a tour of, we're not that far from the swamp. We're not that far from Doak Campbell Stadium. You know, we're not that far from the Daytona 500 track.
Right.
Where we could partner with these large facilities and have a neat event and maybe make something that's just like once in a lifetime experience. And then finally, the A of Nadia is assignments. And these are some of the secret tricks of the trade, is to have, if you're doing a middle school band or a middle school school-wide, a band, you would break that band into groups of 5 students or groups of 6 students. A school-wide, you would break them into homerooms by first period or third period.
Right.
You would keep score on a daily basis by whatever group you've chosen, right? And you could be logging, keeping score based on the number of texts sent or the number of items sold, or you could be tracking both of those things.
Right.
And then communication. If you're tracking those things, you could also be rewarding those things.
Right.
With a Krispy Kreme party, with a
Yeah.
pizza party, with a gift card to the teacher to go out to eat.
That's nice.
You know, if they were successful, you know.
Yeah, teacher would appreciate that.
We have to reward the teachers.
Yes, definitely.
Those would be school-wide situations, right? Then communicate. 1 week before the sale, we'd have the principal send a video out like the one I showed you.
Yes.
And then we'd use daily social media, use Facebook Live, use Instagram Live, use Twitter to communicate via text and anything we can do to get on their phone about the fundraiser, and them meaning the parent, right?
Yes.
And if possible, allow the students to take 10 to 15 minutes to send out a few text messages about the fundraiser, just like you did at the beginning of the presentation.
Right.
That took you a very short amount of time. And that text message could say, it would be worded that it'd be about the fundraiser.
Right.
And then this is an example of what some of the goal charts might look like if we were keeping score. Like this would be for a band, maybe the clarinet section. And this would be for a homeroom.
Right.
And that's kind of one of the secrets of the trade, is keeping score and using some tools.
Right.
But you'd have to reward this teacher if they're going to keep score.
Right.
It stands for need. Communicating the vision is kind of attitude, making sure that we're have high expectations and have a positive attitude. We'd have to ask the right questions.
Right.
We need to have strong incentives and reward the behaviors that we want to be repeated. And we don't need to feel bad about that. If we need to raise $15,000, we might need to invest $750 to $1,000 in rewards.
Right.
You know, but you wouldn't give away all the money.
Yeah, definitely.
But and then,
but it encourages people to participate.
If everybody's going to, you got to get them off the couch, and then an object in motion stays in motion.
Right.
And then those assignments, giving people tasks and making sure we have a timeline and a plan. Right. Overall, I wanted to share with you and those that would be doing fundraising, we got to find balance. We got to make sure that we don't take on too much. We don't say yes to everything.
Right.
because then we burn out volunteers, we burn out teachers, we burn out parents.
Exactly.
I think you can over fundraise and have fundraising fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important to give yourself, your volunteers, and your students and teachers grace,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously just treat people with kindness, and that kind of goes with being a good person.
Right.
But I bring that to my fundraisers personally, because I think you also have a teachable moment during the fundraiser.
Right.
And then always know that we can grow. If we've done
Mm-hmm.
badly in fundraising in the past, it doesn't mean we're going to be doing badly in fundraising forever.
Forever. Right.
We add the word yet. We just haven't had our best fundraiser yet, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And if we add that word yet, that just gives us the opportunity to improve.
Right.
This is my contact information.
Mm,
I didn't really get into specific programs.
right.
I really wanted to do like an umbrella tonight of best
Right.
practices.
Right.
Because if you go straight to the program, you
Mm-hmm.
might skip the concepts.
Right.
And I think the process is more important than the catalog.
Fun. Right.
Because I think overall, I would say to a teacher or to a principal, to a PTA parent, I think how we structure the fundraiser is worth more than which catalog we pick out.
Yep. Right.
And if you have the right structure, you can pick out whatever catalog you want, and we're going to
Right.
have great results
Right.
and repeatable results,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to hoping everybody all of a sudden wants cookie dough this year,
Right.
like looking for a magic product,
Right.
which the truth is there's not one.
There's not one. Yes.
And I guess that's the myth, right?
Right. There isn't. It cannot be like one works for all.
The Charlie FloridaFundraiser.com has a magic fundraiser.
Right.
Now I do have some things that I think are very effective,
Mm-hmm.
but without a system in place, none of them are effective.
Right.
And so that was really what I wanted to share. So I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Have
All
a
right.
great day.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.